Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth webinar of this React Nano degree. It's been a month of webinars. How fast goes the time? Let's check if everything is working on the audio. Okay. Today we are going to talk about the React. About the Redux Developer Tools. Let me check here if everything goes okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to go out of this presentation and come here. And over here, I don't know why this is happening right now, but it's not okay. Yeah. Let me check. Okay. Okay, there. Okay. So I prepared some slides, as you can see here. This is the presentation, but it's like for downloading it later for you, so you can access the information. I have a quick guide for the Redux development tools. But as this is something like we have to go through it like dynamically, I'm just going to go through the pages. Okay, so this is the extension. This is the page. Redux Dev Tools extension. It's extension for Chrome, Firefox, also for non-web environments, as for example Electron, and you can use the part where we use the remote the Redux Dev Tools. It's like when we've seen the React development tools just to debug Redux. I think it's very nice. From the last 4 or 5 months, I didn't use it much, and I've seen the changes that they made in the tool, and it's been amazing the work that they have been doing. So it's like very nice. So what we're going to do in this webinar, when you go to the documentation, they give you 4 examples, links for examples, to example, a counter example, a counter page, a Redux form, a Redux Tetris game. So you can just they left the developer tools app in their production build, so we can use it from here and study the web or application. So, but we have to see how to install it in local. So I'm going to move to the installation in local installation for you to see how it works, and later we move to the examples. We will be doing with the to-do examples to the app. So okay, let me check. This just is not here. Yeah, for this to be working, I'm going to use the example from the previous webinar, from the Hello World Redux application. As you I have hidden this Redux icon, but it's installed the extension. You go to the store and you install it. Okay, and as you can see, we have now the tab with the Redux. What is happening here when I reload the application? It's not working, the Redux, because we have to enable it, okay, in the code. So we have 2 ways. The first way, it's I think this is one. If you come here and you see that when we are creating this store, if we pass, I just have this let me check. we have just to call this this function in the window object. Just here we just check if this if Windows object has this this element, and if it has the element, it just calls the enhancer. Okay, so it's the third argument. So once we have this, this is working. Sorry. Now the app refreshed, and we have it shows the DevTools. Okay, so we have here the Redux and the DevTools. So another way to install it here, well, there are like three ways of installation. You have them in the official docs. I just go with two because the first one is like this one, the easy one. Just throw that function. But you have a second way that it's let me wait a minute. I didn't take it. I think it open. Yeah, I have it here, like not come. So we come here. Let me check. Now we have to install the Redux Dev Tools extension. So we should be doing like if we were to the console, we should add like yarn add Redux Dev Tools extension. And because we are doing this right now in the development environment, we would be installing it in with the dflag. But we can build it add it for production. We will see at the end some good examples for having it in production. So once we have it installed, we come here and we import from that library. We import the function with import with DevTools. I will see in the other example from Redux DevTools extension. Okay, now what we do is just to create a composer, a heiser, and with compose with DevTools, we just can do this. Yeah, we can just pass it as the third argument. Let me check this because what I had here. So we just import the new function from the new install library, and we pass this enhancer in the third as the third argument. So now it should be working also. Sorry, the example I had is for the future for activating another part of the extension. But now if we come here in Redux, we've seen that things are happening. It's working. Okay. So let's move to do example. This is one of the examples that the creator of this extension give us to study. Okay, so we go to the Redux. Okay, let me check if this can. Yeah, I think this can be prettier. Okay, now this is bigger. Okay, we can divide the extension, this panel in three parts: this top bar, this bottom bar, and the panels. Okay, so we are going to focus in the left panel by now. So here what we see, it's in real time what is happening in our current page, all the actions that are fired. So if you use if we see this init action, if you go to the documentation, I have a link in the presentation where let me check if I don't have it here right now. When you create the store, it initially calls all the reducers you passed to the store, so it's in its first initial state. So this init is like calling the reducers with empty state. So it's always happening in all in all Redux applications. So you have that. That's why you have that display. So this ads will be like examples of internal actions, pause, init, and things like that. So let's write some to-do actions. I should learn Redux. I should learn to use Redux Dev Tools, and we should teach what I learned in a webinar. As you see, this has been filling out with all the actions that we have been firing. You have this add to do. We can filter if we want to fit, but in it. Sorry, I just putting the cursor in front of everything. We just add to do. So we have a very nice filter where we can. It's very nice because in complex applications we see that we have lots of actions fired. Like we will see maybe in the form example where you blur, focus, and field on chains, on inputs. So this kind of events. So it's nice to have a filter. What if you see here, when I go to the actions, I have a jump and a skip. So if I click jump, from here in the right panel, I haven't explained you the right panel, but let's check if I can show the state here. This is the state of our application in every part of it. So in the init initial state, we have just this initial state here. When we go to that to do, we just added the learn the use Redux. We added the learn Redux. Usually it goes with the div, so I will explain it now. But we are adding things in that to do. We add this, and in that to do, we are in the last. So this is the state of our application with 4 items inside it. So if we go to the jump, okay. So if I go to the jump and click here and jump it, look at this. We just are jumping this, and it's disappearing. Let me check. Okay, so this where we put the learn Redux, we just we are jumping. So if we were here, we just want to have our application showing what we had there. Look at this. Right? We just jumped here. So if we click, we go to the second or to the fourth, but our application doesn't change. We are just moving. Like, I want to see what action we were firing here. I want to see what action I'm firing here. But I want to see the user interface with just only this action, with this action fired, and not having into account this. So we go and jump the state, and you see now the state of the application is with only the things that happen here. There is a very nice talk from Dan Abramov, about the creator of Redux, about time traveling with this tool and with Redux. So you will be seeing a lot of references, a lot of examples where you can time travel and you can see the state of the application. This is, I think, I really love the React tool, but Redux tool, I think that when you get to the end of this explanation, and you can build your state, like clicking and reproduce it wherever you want and put your application in that state, I think it's very nice for debugging. So this is jump. Now we have a jump to the end. Okay, we jump to the end do the fourth action. So imagine that I don't want the run Redux to happen in this at this moment. So I'm going to use the second button, that it's skip. So now skip, as you see, it's toggled. The to do is erased. And if we come here into the last action, we have the state without that action, and it's not reflected. It's like, okay, I don't want to see this. See, I think this is just the beginning, and I think that this is just awesome. Okay, so now this is the left panel, and this part, the right panel, it's impossible to explain it without a part, because we've been touching it in the left panel. But as you see, we have the 5 buttons where we have action, state, difference, trace, and test. Okay, so action, it just shows us the action that it's running or we have selected. So look at this. On the first init, it just tells us, oh, we have just run the at init action that, as I've explained you, is the default action. We can see it as a tree, like as we usually see it as a row, like JSON. So we can copy. Look at this. Everything we are using here, we can take it to our application. In a chart where we see the state has one child and type. So add to do, type add to do, text learn Redux, as chart and a row. And as you can see, we just see the normal actions. It's not a very complex action. It's like our hello world also. We can see the action, we can see the states, always the state we have in our application. So when the first art to do is fired, we have the to do we inserted, and the previous one that was inserted in the application initialization. We can have in JSON, in raw data, in a tree, where we just can be. This is very pretty. Let me check if you see it properly. I think I'm going to move my head over here. Okay. So later, the state. We have the action. We have the state. I show disappear me the instructor notes. Okay, here it is. 1 minute to have the chat open here. Okay. We have the state, okay, and the div. This is the default feature what is selected. So every time we fired an action, it shows us what is changed. If it's an update, we would be seeing like deleted the previous state in that part and added the new one. By now it's like adding elements, so it's always new. So these 3 are the most common code you are going to the most common tools. Okay. Trace is very nice for local development. It's just to see why the codes, where that action is happening in the code. So for this we need to go to local, to our hello world application running in localhost. So we go to trace and it's disabled. How we enabled it? Okay, for enabling it, we need to go to our function and add here, as I have here. I'm going to use the compose. I'm going to compose a heiser. Call this compose with Dev Tools, and we pass the variable trace true. This is why I told you that I prefer to use the the library compose enhancer, we call it, because we can pass this kind of variables and set things better. Right now, let me check if things work. It's not working. Okay, so let me check if we have to do that, and we have to go to the settings and turn in the visual code, the absolute path. But sometimes, okay, let me reload here. Okay, it's not working. Why it's not working? Let me check. Let me check it. Why it's not working? Things off the direct. Why it's not working? Okay, it's not working. I think it's some kind of it should be working perfectly. Dev Tools enhancer from the details. What's happening? I had it running. I don't know. There are, as you can see in this example, we have the one change in the example. Compose enhancers, trace limits. I'm just copying it. Compose enhancers. I just remove the action creators. And we pass it to the compose enhancers. I don't know why we're having this. So I'm going to stop the app and run it again and see why it's happening this, because this was working. Just adding this, maybe I just running the yarn ads something to, yeah, well, it should be working. Okay, it's running. It's running. Maybe. Well, things of the live people. I just this is the code that I just added, so it's the same as before. The trace limit is optional, so I was just testing, so it's the same. It has to work with this also. So sorry, maybe the name it's not the best, but you know, we just have to pass this trace through, and for this being opening, now we see that where this action is happening. Now we have the unchanged event here. It's very nice. But for opening in our Visual Studio Code, for example, we have to add the external editor here name. And in my case, I had to put this this absolute path. Okay. So now if we click here, well, let me maybe let here the, so if we click here, it's opening in another view where it's happening. So okay, so as you can see, it's opening it here. So if we click, it's opening always the editor in a new window. I think it's happening right now because of the problem with the extension. But it opens you the line where you have the code. So it was open in the bottom group where we have the call to the action. Okay. So that's the trace option. And we have the test. We can move back to our Redux example. Test. What does test? Test lets us use, it creates for us some default examples for testing. So it just reads our state, and we can check between jest, mocha, tape, or ava template. I use jest for testing, so it gives me, we can edit the templates, add new them, wrapping how it works, but by default it creates this test where just creates the reducer with the information we have here and what it expects that state to be equal to what we have here. So it's very nice. This tool is very nice for just adding things in our view, playing around with our user interface. After that, this generates some tests, and we can copy them and put them into our application. So it's a very nice tool that they came up with it, and I think it's a great idea. Okay, so right now with these things, you can begin to understand the importance of the important things of this. You forget about console log and these kind of things. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. So what we have here now, we have to go to the top bar. Okay, so we have here a selector of all our running instances or running applications all over our browser. So I have like maybe duplicated or the React app, the mentorship dashboard for this course. Remember that inside React lessons we have React and Redux, and the other example. So we could be like from these development tools seeing other instances from here, but auto select instances just is understanding that we are here in wherever. But let's come back to the Redux again. So this is just for selecting, and this left part we have three options: log, monitor, inspector, and chart. The inspector just puts us this view with the action, state, diff, trace, and test. So we saw it. It's not a problem. We saw this extension, but we have now the log monitor. And log monitor, it's a very, very nice application. You can see that now we have the actions. We keep having the actions because all this application goes about the Redux actions and what's happening with them. So we have the initial states, our first add to do call, the second, the third. And we see like four buttons: reset, revert, sweep, and commit. Okay. For example, we can toggle them as we were doing before. We just select one action and it gets like temporarily erased from the view. And we can do maybe, okay, so for understanding these buttons, we have to understand first the commit. The commit, what does commit is when we press it, it puts all our actual state as the default state. Okay, so it's like, right, look at that. It refreshes the view, and we have now the init action, and it's putting the fourth element. So see that now we don't have, before we had the revert option there, so now we don't have it. So I'm going to write something. I have this action. I don't like it. I don't want, if I remove it, I will have it like, okay, I remove it, but I see that we fire another action that deletes to do action. I don't want this to mess up. So if we click revert, okay, we have two buttons to select. So imagine reset revert. What revert does, it takes us to the previous committed state. So see at this. So that's why you first need to understand commit to be able to use reset and revert, because if you have a commit, you can revert to the previous commit. So everything you do, you have this new to do. We didn't have it committed, but these are this previous one, so revert. But imagine that it's something like this. If we do a reset, it resets everything. Okay, so it removes the commitment, it removes everything, and it goes into the initial state of application. So if we go back, learn Redux, learn Redux Dev Tools, do the webinar, we can, as we are learn Redux, I don't want it, I don't want the learn Redux Dev Tools, I just select it, and it's not appearing in the view, but it's also here in action. I'm going to sweep it, and this removes the selected actions. So if we go to inspector, now we have only two actions fired. So you can see that everything you do in one view, in the log monitor view, it stays in the inspector, so you will be able to be doing things between the two views to like make things nice. Okay, so this is the log monitor. I think it's very nice. The chart just gives us a view with the state. It's just a good way to see it in a whole application, in a whole view. So because you know that we have this also, this chart, we have it here, but you know, it's just taking less place. So if you want to have this view bigger, you just go to the chart. You can remember to hover over things to. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions for now, any doubt. We are going to this below toolbar. Okay. Some people in some documents they call them magic toolbar. I just call it the bottom toolbar. Okay, these three buttons are just for creating a new developer tools, just to the left. Of course, you can move it. Okay, to the right, and the same place but outside on the bottom. And we could take it out. And if we have the inspector here, let me check cook dinner. Let me check it's working in, oh, sorry. We have the to do here, cook dinner. I have the cook dinner here, so it's just duplicating the views. So we could be creating other views. Of course, we can close this one and leave the other one open. Okay, so just these three. just to tell you how the presentation is, as you can see, we have here, I have this is like what you will see in the PDF downloaded. Okay, this is the guide I built for you and for me to follow up in this live webinar. So we have these three buttons. These three buttons are like the magic ones, but they're magic. So we can pause the recording. What does pause recording mean? The first time when you arrive to the application, you are clicking things and you say, I'm not understanding anything. So what it makes is, okay, is when we click it, you see that we have the start and it's paused. It just pauses, it stops the recording of the actions inside our application. So if we add a new action, check if actions are paused. See, we see that our application is working, it's running, it's not broken, but we see that we don't have anything in the state added. We have the cook dinner, do the website, do the webinar, learn Redux. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 items here. So it's not reflecting our changes. So this is very nice because you want to debug something and you want to just check, or you want to imagine you want to check between these and these actions, but you don't want to fill this with a lot of actions because you have to scroll up, scroll down, or you just get confused. You stop, you can use the application, but you will see that things don't move. What is interesting about this action is that once you start recording what you have been doing, nobody sees me. Oh, every time you click the start recording, let me show you the state. Start recording. See that it's fire up the init. It removes all the actions from before, so it's like, okay, you've lost what you were doing or the post, but you see that all the state reappears. So everything you've been doing in the application as you were watching it in the user interface, it initiates the view, but with the state now, the nobody sees me, the check if actions are paused are appearing here. Nobody sees me. So, right, it's not magical, it's just pausing the recording. And this is the other part, the log changes. It's different because if we want to really do whatever we want, we just log the changes. See that if just dynamically change to unlock changes. So now things don't work. Now the application is completely freezed. Okay, so it doesn't matter what we do. We only have these two actions. We can't, I can't delete. I'm just trying to click. I'm trying to active complete all. That's working. Nice. I have to check why this is the completed working, and I have to check this because let's check later if it's not an action. So this is what it does. So now unlocking, because it's locked, unlocking it doesn't change anything. So usually you might use these more like, okay, I want to work with these, make a lot of things, make sure that I don't break anything or I don't misclip something. So, but you have the two versions, the two options, both are nice. Let me check active what does uncompleted. Yeah, this is not as you see, we are not having an action, so this is not this is not it's not a Redux action, so that's why it was working on the application. Yeah, so look at that. If you have jQuery or Redux or React things there, it won't be working with. It only frees the things about Redux. Okay, so another important thing is the persist button. So the persist button has a bug because if I click it now, it's clicked and I don't see it's clicked. So, but the persist is just that. Okay, I want you to persist all the data. Hey, it's not working. Why it's not working? Let me check. Okay, cook dinner from the page reload. So let me check. Well, sometimes breaks things. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so cook dinner, run Redux, do the webinar. As you can see, we don't know if it's clicked. So refresh. Yeah, now it's clicked, and we have this. Right, so this is very, very nice. Imagine that if we are in our Hello World application, and we want, like, okay, I want to. Oh, this is from the previous example I was doing here. Let me check this out. Yeah. So this is the Hello World. Hello World, everyone. Hello World, Carlos. Hello World from Redux. And imagine that coming to this button, to the Hello World from Redux, is more complex. So I just click the persist, refresh. Let me persist it. And check because that's the problem. So now we have it in the init. We have the persisted. And imagine that we want to come here to the code, and that's like this. That's what I had, so it was like the awesome. We save it, and because it will be reloaded, but the view is reloaded, but because we persist the data, it's reloaded with the data I want, so I don't have to come here and go to the third button, click it, and move it to the state I want. In this case, it's a simple, but imagine a form where you are adding a lot of fields, and I think this is very nice. I have to check. Let me know if this button is also glitchy for you, like you don't know if it's click or not, because I will create a bug in the extension GitHub. Okay, so we can maybe dispatcher. Dispatcher is a very nice option. Dispatcher lets us create actions. So from this drop-down view, we have something very important. We can see all the actions that we have in our application. So we have the delete to do, the edit to do, the complete to do, the complete all, and the clear completed. So I don't see the option to edit here. Oh yeah, double click. I didn't see it. Do the webinar 2. Cook dinner. So I want to delete the to-do called dinner. So let me go to the action, to the states. See the ID of cook dinner is the ID 1. So I have selected the delete to do. I pass the ID 1. I dispatch it, and delete to do with action and ID, and it's removed. Of course, we can create a custom action. To do. Text was no, I think text. I don't remember. Custom action. To do dispatch. As you can see, this is very nice, where you can be working from the console without going to your code. So dispatcher is very, very nice information. The slider, it's usually automatic. It's by default, I think it's activated. It's just a very nice way to go back and move in time traveling from the past for the future. You can check like, okay, if we click it, it will be moving by. So you can see like, wow, let me check how this view works. You Redux, cook dinner, run Redux, also do the webinar, and these kind of things, and you can see how the application goes, and give it like the half speed, normal speed, or double speed. So as you see, why they call it the magic toolbar, right? So let me check. Oh, the import and export. Look at this. Now we have the custom action, do the webinar, learn Redux, use Redux. So if I can export it, and we have this loaded, the stage JSON. What? I'm going to open here, and this is what exports us. The alert is not. It doesn't have the preload state because I don't have it persisted. Let me export it again and check if it's now having the. It's not. It only has. This is what we have. It exports this payload. To do cook dinner, run Redux is just the JSON. So imagine that, okay, I don't want to persist it. I refresh it. And I want to import my custom state from the beginning. So downloads, state JSON, call it here, and now everything is working. We just imported it, as you can see. So nice tool just to know how to create a file for importing it. You just export it and see that it's JSON with string formatting. So there you can use it. Now we have left these two remote and settings. Settings is what I used before for adding the Visual Studio Code and the absolute path. There are a lot of things about the settings, as you can see here in very small view. It's like setting options. Here is discourage and will not be possible in the next major release. Specify them as parameters. See the user for more details. So it's not important, the settings right now. So and remote. I haven't used remote by now. I want to check it for a production build, but yeah, I wouldn't have time for a live webinar with you. But this is like at the beginning of the webinar, I told you you are able to use it in production. It's one of the use cases to have it in as a remote view. So for example, why do you want to give someone to leave the Redux Dev Tools activated in production? Some people say, oh, it's a security risk. No. Giving the extension available, if any developer wants to show and inspect your page with Redux Dev Tools, you are not doing anything unsecure. We just have to remember that you shouldn't, because all the state is accessible by other places because it's in the client. You are just giving them the opportunity to see it nicer. Maybe the user, the creator of this extension, has you have this a link about this in the documentation provided. In the YouTube video you have the link for the PDF. In class, in the Slack channel, you will have the link for the PDF. But where it says, oh, very nice to go to my travel agency, buy a ticket, I have in JSON data all the information about my plane. It's like, for us developers, it's very nice. So it's very nice for you to inspect it and leave other developers inspect it. It doesn't have a problem with speed of the website, because it only slows the website when you open the DevTools. So if you don't open the DevTools, the website goes on the same way. And it's very nice to have these remote development tools working for customer service. You can access and monitor logs from your computer, from the client server. You have to run it. There is a lot of documentation about. So let me go to the page where they talk about this. Where you go here, and redirection. Well, it's not. I don't know why it's there, but this is where they have how it's used, how to install it, how to install it in the server. I remember it has something like this is all the documentation. But if we want to try to install it in production, just tell me, because I always like to use it. So let me check if you have some questions, because no, this is just what we had it. So you can see here, let me check. I was just playing around with the persist and these kind of things. Okay, so this is another example where we have the counter. So you can see how the actions are built, and you can see, okay, click time, 1 time, incremental counter, click 2 times, incremental counter. You can see the actions appear, and just to remove the slider and the dispatcher. So in this example, we see clicking this button just calls this action that has only 1 tree. If we go to dispatcher, we can see the actions that we have: increment, decrement, out increment, and increment async. These are the action creators. I'm going to click the increment async, and it's fired, and it's the same. The increment async is the same. It just creates the same action. Of course, in the implementation of that function should be like doing a timeout or set timeout. And if we could go into out increment, we see that it's running, and it's just calling every time the increment. So this is like a place where you can see how things work. You can see the state. The state just has a counter. Every time we go to diff, this is changing. If you go to the Redux form example, you have Redux form and Tetris. I'm not going to show you much of the Tetris, because Tetris is big, but it's a very nice place where we could be like understanding how everything works. So I want to play, and I want to see all of things that are happening here. If I see the state, look at that. We have a very big state with the matrix, with all the information, with the columns, the current state or the current position of the object. We have the information about the keyboard. So this is like very nice code where you can see that everything is. That's why they have the pause button here, so you can pause and see what does with the move black. So it's just changing the timestamp where things happening and the XY position. So if we go to the Redux form, you see that it has the init function, and it has like a Redux form register field. It's like for every field it registers in the state. So if you go to the action, it's to the state, we see that register has register fields, and every time appears, first name, last name, email, sex, where it has count 1, sex, count 2. We have 2 items for the sex, favorite color. It's like registering all our components. So this is like it has all the fields registered. If we come here and create a focus, we have a focus and a blur. And see, we have register fields, because now we encountered the first name and it's the active one. And blur, you know. So if we come here and I write Carlos, now we went to the end change, seeing that now we see how they use this Redux form. They are using the registered fields, the fields, and in another property, the values. So we have the values here. So in the state, in the last change, you see. So this is very nice to understand how an application is working and it's behaving. So I hope this helps you to learn a little more about debugging tools, about how to work with this, debug your application, understand a little more about what's going on with an application. If you download the example that it's been built in the classes, in the lesson, sorry, and you want to play around with the application, I think it's very nice. For example, the form example, I think it's a very nice place where you can persist it. Try to fill part of the form, persist the data, reload it, import, export. I think it's a very nice way to learn it. Here in the presentation, I will leave you, but this is the conference where Dan Abramov talks about time travel, like React. The link for the GitHub extension, and some resources where I took some external resources from Udacity, where I took some information to create this webinar. And as I don't see questions in the chat, just want to say you thank you for appearing at the webinar. Just we have like 3 weeks more of 4 weeks more of Redux webinars, and this week, upcoming week, we will be finishing the theoretical part between the next one and the next 2 weeks. So I will leave you what you have to study on Monday for the week. Remember, we have the webinars on Fridays and the Amy events on Thursday. So thank you for coming here. Thank you very much. Keep working the way you are doing. Don't hesitate. Don't be afraid of talking on the channel or direct messaging me. So thank you very much and stay audacious.